welcome to Ask Aaron. We are answering questions this week about what it looks like for us to be Christians who are focused on not only our family, but those in our communities and our neighborhoods. As always, these are my views, not the church's, but I hope they agree, and we're also hoping that you will engage in the comments section below with any questions, comments, concerns that you have. Love to hear from you and hope that you're engaging with these videos. We're going to jump right in here. Second time in a row I'm sporting my Packers garb. I was up late last night watching the game, very excited that they won, but also probably trying to care a little less about the outcome of sporting activities not involving my children or myself. Anyway, we have 4 great questions today, and let's jump in. How do you suggest that we reach our neighborhood? Because I don't feel adequately prepared for street corner preaching. Well, let me just start out by saying I am not a huge proponent of street corner preaching, right? Standing on the street corner with a sign that says turn or burn, with a megaphone exclaiming Christianity to your neighborhood. People will probably be turned off. They might be a little annoyed. And while it is important that people hear the truth no matter what, I do feel like there is a little bit better way to do it. And it's not rocket science. It's called being a good neighbor. It's called engaging in community activity and being a part of the lives of those that live around you, being cordial with them as stuff happens. You know, if there's bad weather and they need help cleaning up, or if you know that something's going on with their family and you offer to, bring them a meal or pray for them. I think it starts by, first of all, having a relationship with those people in your neighborhood, because if you don't have a relationship with them, it's really going to be very difficult for you to have any sort of impact in their life and any sort of impact on their faith. So you need to start by having a meaningful relationship with them. Know who they are, know their kids, know what's going on in their families, offer to be there for them when they're in need, but also offer and bring up questions and comments and conversations around spirituality and around faith, right? Ask them where they go to church. Ask them if they've ever gone to church. Ask them if they believe in God. Ask them what their views are. As this relationship deepens, we need to be prepared to have conversations that maybe normal people think that you're not supposed to have with your neighbors, right? We just see each other's political signs in the drive or next to our driveways or in the yard, and we just decide like, oh, that's what they believe. We're not going to have that conversation. We're not going to engage. But that doesn't change anything, and it doesn't impact their lives or their eternity. And so as you develop a deeper relationship, as they understand that you care and that you're invested not just in the neighborhood, but in them as people and their families and the things that they care about, and that you're not going to judge them and heap burning coals on their head. That's a biblical reference there for you. You can start to ask these questions, and you don't even have to necessarily try to change their mind or have answers for them about things that they're struggling with, but just offering to have the conversation and to be there and to share your opinion and to say, this is what I believe and why, are all good steps to reaching your neighborhood. So first, be there physically and be present and be available. Second, invest in them as people and their families. And third, don't be afraid to shy away from spiritual conversations, and know what you believe well enough to share what it is that you think they need to hear. So moving on. How can I figure out where I fit in the church family? I'm laughing because the second half of this question, I think there are already enough people yelling at the kids. Well, first of all, at Hill City, we try really hard not to yell at your kids, right? Like we think that they are not only the future of our church, but a part of our church family right now. And we believe pretty strongly that every kid, no matter how difficult the family situation, is loved by God and wants, we want for them to have a relationship with Him. And so we go out of our way to make sure that your kids feel welcome and that we're teaching them at a level that is appropriate for them and that they're getting something out of it. And yes, do you ever have to raise your voice to get the kids' attention? And obviously. But I can tell you right off the bat, there are never enough, no matter if the kids' ministry is fully staffed and there are people on a waiting list, there are never enough people investing in the lives of the kids of your church or your neighborhood. Every kid needs people to care about them and invest in them and to accept them both the way that they are and challenge them to be a better, more Christ-like version of themselves and to explain to them what that means. So there are never too many people investing in the lives of kids. That being said, I think the best way to figure out where you fit in the church family is to approach the church and talk to the pastor, the volunteer coordinator, the people who are doing the work that you see around the church, perhaps that you feel drawn to or led to, or perhaps, that you just don't even know what could possibly be needed. Talk to someone and ask, because yes, they're going to stand up in front and we do at Hill City and announce, yeah, we need help here and we need help here and we need help here. But you only have so much time on any given Sunday to explain what that looks like and what the needs might be. And you as a person know better than we do as church leaders what your giftings are, what you're feeling called to, led to. Perhaps there's something that you feel led to start. And you know what? Maybe your church wants to be a part of that, maybe they don't. But if God is calling you to start something, we, as Christians, perhaps need that. And so there's always an opportunity for people to serve. We have people who run tech that I never would have pegged as tech people. We have people who help set up every Sunday because our church meets in a gym and we have to set it up and we have to tear it down. We need people to do that all the time. We have youth group every Wednesday night, and there are always kids, students who need more adult interaction in their lives, right? Because I make this joke every time we do child dedication, but someday your kid is going to grow up and be a teenager and they're going to want to talk to anybody but you. And so you better hope and pray that they have found a relationship with another adult who you trust and who you care about, who can pour into their lives. And so there are many areas. We have a prayer team that, if you just feel led to pray for people at church, after church, during the week, there are so many opportunities for you to get involved. But if you don't step up and say, hey, I want to be involved and I need somebody to tell me where my giftings fit, the church may never have guessed that you even want to be involved. And as church leaders, yes, we announce things and we desire for you to be involved and we ask you to be involved. But at the end of the day, we're not going to beg you. We're not going to push you into something without, making sure that you're on board with it. And so the best advice I can give you is to find somebody in the church that you see doing something that you might be interested in doing, or that is in charge of helping to organize things, whether it's the pastor, volunteer coordinator, whatever. Find that person, talk to them, volunteer yourself, and we will help find you the right fit. Okay? Next question. Do Christians who only drink milk still go to heaven? This is not a Got Milk commercial. This is because we talked about the idea that some Christians are baby Christians or infant Christians, and they only can handle milk. And the more mature we become and the more we grow in our faith, we start to become those people who eat more meat or vegetables or whatever you're thinking. We eat whole food, right? And so this question is, do Christians who only drink milk still go to heaven? The answer, we've kind of talked about this in another Ask Aaron video before, but the answer is yes. And I think I've said, by the skin of their teeth, right? Baby Christians get in by the skin of their teeth. But the reality is we don't want to do the bare minimum. As Christians, we never want to be people who are saying, I'm following Jesus as little as possible, but I have confessed with my mouth and believed in my heart. The truth is that is the put out there by Scripture, right? That's the standard. You confess with your mouth and you believe in your heart and you will be saved. The thief on the cross proved that. But when you believe something in your heart, it should change you. It should motivate you to become more and more like Jesus. And so the thief on the cross died like 5 minutes after the confession, right? He died after professing his faith and believing in his heart. Hopefully, you don't die 5 minutes after your profession, and so you grow and mature. And if you're not growing and maturing as a Christian, you're staying a baby Christian, then the question becomes, do you believe what you say you believe? And so I am not the judge of that. Our church is not the judge of that. And I believe that, God knows your heart. God understands what's going on in your life and is just and has the authority to decide where you spend eternity. So yes, milk drinking Christians go to heaven, right? They are Christians. They're just baby Christians. That being said, that's not the goal. And we want to grow and mature as much as possible. And I think God takes that into account as he is justly and rightly judging us. Last question, and again, this is very specific to the sermon, so if you haven't watched it, hillcityhudson.org, on the app, the Hill City Hudson app, you can watch it as well. But it says, what is our church's inward to outward ratio? I talked about churches that are inwardly focused, like just on the people who attend, and outwardly focused, more seeker sensitive. And I said that, the reality is that as a church, if you're healthy, you want to be both and. You want to be doing things that are inwardly and outwardly focused. But this question is, what is our church's inward to outward ratio? What is perhaps the healthy inward to outward ratio? And I would say 60-40 or 65-35 inwardly focused. And let me explain why before you get all, oh my gosh, you're, betraying your community. And no, what I'm judging or basing that entire ratio on is this. The people who you can reach are the people who are in the seats, the people who are watching online, the people who are a part of your church community. You can reach them because they're there and they're listening and they're actively engaged. And so to base your entire strategy and ministry structure and all of those things around potential people that may or may not ever come in, to your community, may or may not ever attend a service or watch online, I think would be foolish. You want to pour into and invest and talk to those who are already a part of your community, engage them where they're at, talk to them about what's going on in their lives, in their families, in their relationships. So you want to have that so that encourages them to go out and be outwardly focused, right? To live a life that demonstrates the love of Christ and how he's changed them and impacted their families and their, faith and all of those different things. And so as you focus on your own people, they go out and become the outwardly focused part of the church. Now, that being said, the Bible's very clear. You do want to go and make disciples of people. And so you want to be a church that is engaging in your neighborhoods and communities, that is sending out information and trying to get people to come and to be a part of what you've got going on. You want to be making new disciples and bringing in people who are not Christian or very baby Christians and helping them to grow. And so you need to do both. But I think to place a higher priority on those that aren't already a part of your church community would be kind of a waste of resources, right? You want to reach out, you want to be inviting, you want everybody in the community to know that they are welcome and able to come and to be a part of this thing. But you want to place a little bit of a higher priority on those who are already there, who are already engaged, and not just because you're selfish and you want to be inwardly focused, but because part of the strategy is when you pour into those who are already there, they are your best evangelism tool. They are your best testimony as to what's going on in your church and how God is working and moving, because they go out and they go to their jobs, they go to their schools, they are involved in their neighborhoods, and they are the ones talking about the church, talking about their faith, talking about what their involvement in church community and what their involvement in their relationship with Jesus is doing for them and for their family and their marriage and their kids. And they are the ones inviting people in. And so as you pour into your people, they will pour into their communities and their neighborhoods and bring others in. So it's a little bit of a both and that's why I say, 60-40, 65-35. You as a church want to focus your energies on those who are already there, making sure they're growing and they're maturing so they can go out and do the work that God calls them to do, that God calls all of us to do. All right. With that, we've answered all the Ask Aaron questions. We've got one message left, and it's about challenging one another. Would love for you to join us, hillcityhudson.org. You can watch online. You can watch on the app. 10 a.m. on Sunday morning. You can join us in person at St. Pat's School, downtown Hudson. We hope to see you then. Otherwise, we'll see you next week for Ask Aaron.